I lied on that last one. We actually have one more. We got to talk about physical disabilities. And so with physical disabilities, we have permanent disabilities and we have temporary disabilities. Okay. And just because somebody has a disability does not mean that they can't drive, that they're not supposed to get in the vehicle and drive. But it does mean that we have to be more careful. Some of our temporary disabilities, things like fatigue and drowsiness, these are things that kind of come on, right? Drowsy driving is one of the leading causes of death, vehicular deaths in America. We have some numbers, but the thing is we're not actually sure. Because one thing we can't always say, like with alcohol, we can do blood tests to tell that if a driver that was killed, was he drinking? We can't do that with drowsiness. We can't tell if you were asleep when you crashed in another car. And sometimes our bodies get so fatigued that we can't fight it. I know when I worked in Duplin County, I was driving an hour each way to work, and I would get exhausted. And I distinctly remember, like this is seared into my memory, driving down the interstate one day, and kind of feeling that jerk, right, that you get when you kind of doze off, and waking up to seeing myself beside an 18-wheeler. It was either a gas truck or like a dairy truck, but a big tanker truck. And it's like I was kind of veering towards the underside of that. That could have been so dangerous for me. And I was fatigued. I was exhausted. And I wasn't listening to my body. I wasn't paying attention to those things. Okay? And so how do we deal with that? If we're fatigued, how do we deal with that? Rest. Okay? Take a rest before you start. Right? If you can change drivers with somebody, change drivers often. Stop every couple of hours. Okay, at least, if not more frequently. Get out, walk around, get yourself something to drink. Right? Eat. Take a nap if you have to. Take a short 10 to 15 minute nap. Refresh your body. Get out, walk around, get back behind the wheel. Use your search pattern. Don't kind of lull yourself in. If you're fatigued, don't put your cruise control on, right? Because that's one less that you have to you don't have to focus on the gas pedal at that point in time. That gives you a little bit more to kind of lull yourself away from paying attention to your task. Okay. Listen to the radio. Roll your windows down. There's all kinds of things you can do to help kind of wake yourself off. Okay, wake yourself up. If fatigue is something that's common, check with your doctor. Okay, there's other temporary sicknesses or illnesses, right? You can have the cold, you can have the flu. There's things you might take medication, right? If you're taking medicine, be very careful when you drive. Make sure that medicine does not make you drowsy. Medication sometimes can slow your reaction time. Okay, typically your medication is going to have a warning label on it. Do not drive motor vehicles with this medication. Right? If you're taking narcotic pain pills, you do not need to be driving. Okay, sometimes even things like Sudafed can cause drowsiness. Okay, you don't want to be driving under the influence of medication. If you've got a broken bone, a sprained ankle, those can impair your driving as well, right? If I've got a broken arm, I can't drive with it. If I've got a broken foot, I can't use that on my pedals. Okay? And so a broken left foot sometimes is easier than a broken right foot because I don't really use my left foot, but it still is a potential limitation on my physical movement that might lessen my ability to perform the actions of driving. Okay? Carbon monoxide. Sometimes our exhaust system, which produces carbon monoxide, it can have a leak into our vehicle. It might be that it's parked in the garage and we've turned the car on ahead of time. It might be that it's got a little pinhole leak. It might be that something's stopping up our tailpipe. But if that carbon monoxide begins to leak into our vehicle, it's an odorless gas. We're going to have carbon monoxide poisoning and go to sleep. Okay? If you're in traffic jams, turn your vehicle off. Okay, check your exhaust system. Don't drive with your rear windows down. There's a lot of different things you can do to help ensuring that you do not get carbon monoxide kind of in your vehicle that give you that carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, smoking. We all know that smoking is dangerous, and I think we probably have less problems with that today than we have at other times. But smoking can raise kind of carbon dioxide levels. It creates smoke. It puts a residue on the windshield. And so you're in that vehicle, okay? If you're smoking, roll your windows down. Allow that smoke to dissipate outside, okay? Get some fresh air. Our sicknesses, our disabilities, our temporary disabilities can and do affect our risk-taking decisions, especially if we're under medication. Okay, older drivers. Okay, older drivers don't react quite as quickly as they used to. Okay, their depth perception might be off. Their hearing might be off. Okay, and they have to go and they have to get their license renewed, and DMV kind of pays attention to medical conditions. Older people have to get their license renewed a little bit more frequently than people like middle-aged people, young adults. But you have to be careful with elderly drivers, okay? And as you get older, you have to keep in mind that you are going to deteriorate. There's nothing we can do about it. So give yourself a little bit extra time. Leave yourself a little bit extra space. Slow down a little bit. Heart disease, other chronic illnesses as well. The medications that people take for that, they can lead to loss of consciousness. They can lead to loss of muscular control. Diabetes is a big one. Okay, if you have wide swings in your blood sugar, they can cause you to go into with high blood pressure or blood sugar or low blood sugar episodes. Like that can affect your ability to drive, right? So other physical kind of permanent disabilities, people are going to have to get, in most cases, physical disabilities, there's extra steps people have to go. People that are paralyzed, they can still drive, and they end up with controls for the steering wheel that control their brake and their acceleration. There's a lot of different things that people can do even with physical disabilities. Just because you have a physical disability does not mean you're not going to be able to drive. People with physical disabilities might get special license plates. They might get handicap placards.